Hello, this is Daniel Raymond, the voice behind Ray's Guide, and again I'm speaking out of character to discuss a high-level matter in the game itself. In this case, quite a high-level matter. On March 18th, Cloud Imperium and Firesprite announced what they described as a development partnership on Theaters of War. This caused me to wonder if perhaps CIG was developing bigger ambitions for Theaters of War than I had previously presumed. Prior to that, I had the impression that Theaters of War was positioned as the third playable testbed and proof of concept for CIG systems. In other words, it would be 1. Arena Commander, 2. Star Marine, and 3. Theater of War, and that thus the lifespan arc of Theaters of War would be the same. Introduction, excitement, data collection until it no longer provided information relevant to the current development path, and then neglect and diminishing participant counts. But if this announcement of a dedicated external team meant that CIG is thinking bigger than that about Theaters of War, then what is it? Well, maybe, just maybe, it should instead be approached as CIG's third game. In other words, the list is 1. Squadron 42, 2. Star Citizen, The Persistent Universe, and 3. Theaters of War. So, okay, not a AAA game like the first two, but not every game produced by a company has to be AAA. Now, whenever the subject of Theaters of War comes up, there are two predictable complaints on Spectrum. The first is, I did not pledge for a game like this. And this has quite a bit of merit, because while up to this point, Theaters of War, as the third test bed, mostly just leveraged Star Citizen technology and assets. But to actually finish it as a game will require a fair deal of work, presumably by Firesprite, that would only apply to Theaters of War, mostly involving the game lobby, matching system, further maps, etc. Moreover, if it was the third game, then it would have, like Squadron 42, its own pledge, although obviously at a much lower bundled price for people who have already pledged to fund most of the core technology. So, for example, as an add-on, a pledge price of, say, $19 would be fair to fund the development of the lobby and other Theater of War exclusive items, but for people only interested in Theater of War, maybe $49. So that's US. So the answer to the first question, I didn't pay for a game like this, is what? Did you expect to get one for free? The second key question that always comes up regarding Theaters of War is, it would be crazy to take on established powerhouse franchises like Call of Duty and Battlefield. To which the not at all sarcastic answer is, then don't. CIG needs to look at its own strengths, lean into them, and use them to create a game similar, but unique enough that the Call of Duty fan might also own it as well as Call of Duty, because it is similar but unique. Right now, I don't think they are doing that well enough. So what are CIG's unique strengths that could be used to make Theaters of War seem very unique compared to Call of Duty or Battlefield? The first, huge maps. I hope this isn't too big of an NDA break, but in one recent playtest, I fell out of the dropship 2 kilometers away. Not a bug, I just stepped too close and fell out. So what did I do? Well, I just ran the 2 kilometers to the destination. Of course I did. This is Star Citizen, where the only edge of the map is going entirely around the planet and coming at it from the other side. We have come to take that for granted. But imagine the typical Call of Duty players being told that the new map is so big you can go entirely around the planet and come at it from the other side. Their minds would explode. Second for CIG is a sci-fi setting that's light on the space magic. You may not regard that as ideal, but go ahead and lean into it. Give us some loadouts that are more pew-pew instead of bang-bang. Let us use tractor beams to catch grenades and move around boxes to improve our defenses. Make the COD player say, as often as possible, well, couldn't do that in COD. For every time they say that, you've won. Third, CIG has ships. Lots and lots and lots of ships. We got torpedo bombers, hospital ships, stealth torpedo bombers, light fighters, medium fighters, heavy fighters, drop ships, hover bikes, armored weapons carriers, the massive land battleship called the Tonk, and a huge landing craft for them, and a freaking Moab dropping Hercules. So how do you integrate that into the game without making it as complex as the persistent universe? Well, what I would do is this. Do it in the lobby, which would also have all the full range of lobby features, such as org keeping their members together for private training sessions, challenge matches, and so forth. But also in that pre-game lobby to have them pick one of several pre-built fleets that they would be using for the game. For example, there might be a high mobility fleet with lots of hover bikes and fast attack craft, an alien tech fleet, a heavy bombing fleet, a strong air defense fleet, a torpedo bombing focused fleet, and so on. Even if the fleets are not perfectly balanced, which would probably be impossible to do, they could have some sort of rock, paper, scissors relationship. So, for example, the fleet with the Moab Hercules might be dominant, so long as the other side doesn't pick the fleet that includes the Retaliators. And the Retaliators might have trouble against a fleet that is essentially a swarm of Talons, and so forth. So all in all, my opinion is that Theaters of War has a lot of potential, and I really mean a lot of potential. But in order to realize that potential, it will need to be recognized, treated, and funded as its own game. And to be fair to those who truthfully did not pledge for that game, it needs to have its own separate pledge. I'm Daniel Raymond for Ray's Guide. Want to sign us out, Ray? Fly safe, keep it real, and I'll see you in the verse. This is Ray with Ray's Guide.